So let's do this. Just to make sure we're all kind of looking at the same thing, let's go and do a Google search just for a couple images to bring in. So for the first one, go ahead and just type in Eames chair. And then we'll go to images. And I'm going to tell you which one to download so we all get the same size and scale. Let's actually just grab this first one right here. Do you remember that? Yes. So go ahead and just click on it here, and then from this preview on the right side, right click and go to Save Image As. So the very first one, yep, is that, and then right click on it and do Save Image As. And I'm going to put all of these in a folder on my desktop. One of the first things to know and to remember about inDesign is that all of the files are linked from a source location. So that means whenever you bring an image into inDesign, it's not actually inside the file, but it's nested in the file location. So that means if you move the file or lose something, you will lose the image in inDesign. So it's important to keep all of your files together. Let's also, let me grab something else too for you guys. Okay, there's one more thing. So crinkle vase sculpture MoMA. And let's grab the second one right here with kind of the gray background. The 1758 by 2000. Thank goodness. Okay. And because Canvas is down, I'm trying to think of a way to get you guys a PDF. So I know this is totally cheating, but because I can't actually send you guys PDFs right now, can you guys think of anywhere we can go right now as a class and download a set of PDFs? I can put it on my Google Drive account and send you guys a link, or just email it to you. Should we do it that way? Okay. Open to inDesign. So I'm just going to go through this as if it's your first time walking through this, because depending on how you use inDesign, you might learn something new. Alex, Connor, you guys won't, but you'll be able to at least do some new work tonight. So to start off, let's all click on Create New. Actually, no, we're going to do shortcuts tonight because it's an abbreviated class. For all of you guys opening it up for the first time, go up to File, and Edit, Preferences, and Units. I'm going to hang out here until you find it. And what we're going to do, by default, every document that you open will be in picas. Picas, I don't know how to say it. One of those things. Is it picas? Thank you. And we want to set our increments to be inches. So if you do this before you open up a document, do you see where it says ruler units? And then mine say inches? Yours probably say picas. Do yours say picas? Okay, good. So change it to inches, and then that way, from here on out, whenever you open a document, it'll be inches. If you do this while you're in a document, it just changes it for that document and not everything else, okay? So this is always the good first thing to do. Now, everybody in here has a free copy of Creative Cloud. So you guys might not know that, but you guys can go home and download it now through your school account. I still am having trouble getting onto Creative Cloud, but either way, free software. We'll figure it out. And where we want to start is Create New. So So this will be the first screen where you might be limited. Let's test it out. Up on the top, come to print for me, okay? And scroll down to where you guys see templates. Do you guys see those down here? Click on any one of those. Let's say you see the resume and you like it, or even like the modern book, whatever you like, click on one and see if it'll let you download it or if it stops you. So for example, mine downloaded and I can open. Do you see how mine says open now? Is yours giving you an error message that you can't download? Okay. We're still trying to figure out how to get you guys kind of like an all access pass to everything. So for now, let's skip that, but let's go back up to the top. For this class, we're just going to be looking at print layouts. And if you do the plus sign, it has more layouts for you. So we really just want an 8.5 by 11 to start. But after you click on it, you can just as easily come over here to the right. So after you've clicked on it, it'll be highlighted in blue. But over here, you can come and you can make your 24 by 36 document and open it up right in here. No, we'll just stick with the letter. Okay. I just wanted to let you guys know that you can. So sorry, I'm going to click on close. I'm going to go back to create new. So I'll just go to print 8.5 by 11. Let's keep everything as is for now. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click on create. Now everything in InDesign revolves around frames. So for now, the most important command for you, the two most important keyboard shortcuts, look at my cursor, will be V. This is this arrow. So 95% of the time you want your arrow to look like this. That's V. It stands for move. When we're not in that for now, click on F for me and look at how your cursor changes. So this is the frame tool. There's two ways of using it. If you click and let go, it's going to ask you what size of frame you want. So I can do a 4 by 4 and then click OK and be done. The other way that you can use it is the click and drag, and that allows you to just free form whatever kind of frame you want right on your sheet. Okay, so click and drag or click. After you're done drawing, type V so that you can go back to move and select, and then you can start clicking on all the different boxes. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Now, one thing that's different on my screen than your screen, let me pull this back. Right now, all of our panels have been collapsed to the right side of the page. So are you guys seeing properties by default? Okay, so yours is a little bit smaller, so yours looks like that. Okay, I usually need to have mine a little bit bigger like this, just so I can see the properties. But for example, if you click on this frame, it will tell you its properties. Like for example, the W and the H is its width and height. Okay, later on we can talk about how you can fill it with color, right? So this is the actual fill color of the box. So if you double click on that, some colors pull up, or over here you can pick colors from this palette. So Natalia and Rita, are you guys used to the palette on the right, or are you guys used to it up at the top?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit different. There's a couple things that were in the ribbon palette that aren't in this one anymore, that I've had a little bit of trouble trying to find. But just be forewarned, everything's there, but you can go back to Window, Workspace, Classic. If you need to go find those tools, you can cheat. But for now, you can add a fill color by filling it that way. And the red X, none, that doesn't mean white with a red stripe. It means that it's transparent. So it means that it won't have any color at all. That was awesome. And then the stroke color is if you want to have a border around it. So I just made it blue with a black border. But the reason why it's hard to see, I'm going to zoom in. So I typed in Z. I'm zooming in. It's just really small. But when I click on it right here, I can make it thicker if I need to. So I'm really just running through stuff right now. Now everybody at this point hit W for me. Okay, that's another good tool to use. So W shows you the difference between like your working mode and your print preview. So right now, this is our print preview, and there's a lot of non-printing objects. So our frames are one of them. You can see that when we go to print, those light blue boxes are gone, and our margins are also gone. Now your margins aren't like Microsoft Word. It's not like you can't work past those spaces. You can actually pull this off to the side and keep working. So your frames will take color, just like I did here. But what we'll mostly be working with our frames will be to insert images and then to also insert text. So to start off, I want to, we got a new clock and I don't know if I like it. I feel like I'm in someone's kitchen. Sorry. That's very like non-institutional, I don't know, and very non-architectural. What we're gonna start off with is learning how to pull in images. And we're going to do 3 different image types for this class. We're going to do just a straight up JPEG. A JPEG works just like a TIFF. We're going to do a PSD file and then also a PDF. There's some tricks to those. So let's go to your Pages menu and let's add 2 more pages. And right now, when you add these extra 2 pages, it's this little paper on the bottom right, this is like a book layout. So similar to this book here, this first page is the cover, and then when you open it, this page right here is the inside of the back cover, and then this page right here, page 3, is actually the first page inside the book. So sometimes it takes people a minute to get used to book layouts, but since we are doing a portfolio eventually, it's good to think about both sides of the pages at once.
So every 2 is 1?
No, so sorry, yeah, exactly. Yep, that's a good way of thinking about it. So the University of Utah limits you guys to 15 pages. So like essentially it comes out to 30 front and backs. Okay, so just make sure that you have the singles correct. On page 3, let's make a frame in the middle.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
You say 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these ones considered 1?
These 2 would be considered 1.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so that's 1. 15 pieces of paper.
Both sides. Oh.
Yep. So 30 sides together. And they also said that your cover, no wait, that was UVU. Never mind. UVU, your cover page doesn't count, and they give you an inch of thickness. It's very different from the U. We'll talk about that later, but very different requirements. So over here, what I want you guys to do, go ahead and click in the middle of the screen and give me a, just to start off, let's do a 6x4 frame. So this is like a picture that you guys can print off at Kinko's. No, not Kinko's, Costco, Kinko's, wherever. And then I'm gonna hit V to center that in my page. And I'm gonna hold on to this for a minute. But you can see that inDesign uses something called Smart Guides. So it automatically finds the center of those pages for you. It makes it a little bit easier. And then once you start using more than one image or frame, it'll start using green Smart Guides to let you know how those are spaced. So for example, if I do an Alt click here, did you see those green guides that popped up? It's letting me know that that's the exact spacing. So those are really nice to use. And if at some point you accidentally turn them off, you can always go to View, and it is under Grids and Guides, and it's the Smart Guides. I think sometimes people accidentally hit Control U for undo instead of Control Z, so I've had a lot of students accidentally turn those off. And then you can also go to right-click Grids and Guides too. Either one of those works. And now to copy this is a similar thing that you can do in Photoshop. So if you're familiar with Photoshop, you might already know this. Make sure you're in V and hold the Alt key down, and you'll see that your arrowhead, when you're over the square, turns into a double-headed square. that will let you just drag this over and make a copy of it. So again, make sure you're in V, hold the Alt key down, and then drag this over, and you'll notice that your cursor turns into a double-headed arrow.
No.
What? It didn't work?
Can you repeat?
Yeah, so make sure you're in V for move,
Yes.
okay? You hold the Alt key down.
Oh, okay.
I have I can't
Go.
write down for some reason.
Oh, turn your screen a little bit more towards me, just a tiny bit. You don't have a frame there yet, it looks like. So make a frame. This is our 4x6 frame. You have to hit F to make a frame.
Oh.
There you go. Yep. So let's start it from the beginning. So hit F for frame, and then I would click for this one because we know we want a 6x4, or you can go into your properties. Either way. And now that you have one, now you can Alt drag it over.
This is 6x4.
Yep. Good. And then just go back to V to move it. Yep. Good. And then I'm actually going to make you redo it. Hit delete on that one. And then center that one first. So look for those. Yep, perfect. And now hold the Alt drag. Good. That's exactly what we're looking for. So what we're going to do is, did everybody have a chance to download those 2 images off the internet? Yep. What I'd like you guys to do is to hit Control D. I'm throwing a ton of stuff at you. Control D means place, to place an image. So I'm going to grab those as well. And let's start with the Eames chair. Okay, so click on Eames and then hit open. And then let's talk about what we see here. It's not quite perfect, right? Actually, Missy, don't close that. Dang it, I need that image. I needed that. Sorry. So they do this new thing called quick fitting. Did that come up for you too?
Oh no, I just fixed it.
Okay, that's all right. So I'm going to show you guys the shortcuts on how to fix it, but there is a way to set the default to automatically fit it the best way for you. I just can't remember where it is in the system, but I will find it. So click on your properties for me and make sure that your image is selected. And you guys can click on auto fit, but I don't know why they have it after the fact. It will help you if you resize it later. But really the only 2 for fitting that you want to use is this first one that's proportionate, or the second one that fills it proportionately. Now this is kind of hard to see in this particular frame. So let's actually resize this to be a 6x6. So while I'm clicking on it, come up here and make it a 6x6. Okay, and then the other thing I'd like you guys to do is in your properties menu, fill this with a black color so that we can really see the frame. And then once you fill it with a black and made it a 6x6, let's go back to the frame filling, and it's these 2 buttons right here. So the first one is fill frame proportionately, and that just means that it's taking the whole image and it's making sure that it's full side by side. Is yours working? No? Okay, hit V for me. Let's make sure we're in V. Okay, and now click on the image. There you go. Do you see it over here under frame fitting? Good. So click on the first one. Good. And then the second one is fit content proportionately. Excuse me. So you guys can see here that depending on the content, you might have to fill the frame or you might have to fit the content, right? But I don't ever like to have a random size frame around the photo. So to fix that, what we can do you guys see over here, there's a button that says Fit Frame to Content? That'll just keep it right and snug to the content. So those are the buttons that we can use to easily size our images. There are keyboard shortcuts for it. Like if you right click, you can go to fitting and they're all right here. Okay, so a couple different places to find those. And do whatever you're comfortable with. I've gotten really comfortable with using the graphics, and so I don't do the Command Shift Alt V anymore. I just use these to the side. Now let's go ahead on this one. I want you guys to try to pull in the vase and go through all those steps too. So pull it in, see if you need to resize the frame or resize the content. And I'll go through it with you as well. So I click on it, I do Control D. It brings in my vase. And then for this one, I'm gonna go ahead and right click and, no, I'm not gonna right click. I'm gonna use my shortcuts. I'm gonna get used to those. I'm gonna do fit content proportionately. And then I'm going to fit frame to content. Okay, let's do one other thing. There will be times where you don't want to use a whole image. Like for example, you might have a floor plan that you're pulling in and you only want to see part of it. Or let's say you took like a whole image of your sketchbook and you just want to focus on one particular sketch. So what you can do in that case is in this Eames chair, let's say we only want to see the stool. So if you hover over the center, you should see a circle and a little hand pops up. It's your computer giving you a high five because you're such good students. Connor and Alex have already heard all of these jokes. You'll hear them again and again. And what you can do is grab these corners, and if you notice, you're making the image bigger, but you're not making the frame bigger. So you can grab those corners and let's try to kind of finagle it to where just the stool is kind of in that frame. And eventually what we'll probably have to do, because there's so much of the chair left on this side, is then we'll have to click off of the actual source image. So we'll have to get out of this direct selection mode and then just grab the frame and pull in the frame. Whoa, that did not work. Okay, turn off the auto fit. Why are you doing that? I don't like this. Okay, hold on. Let me hold the shift key. Maybe that'll do it. Nope. Okay. Okay, I turned off autofit and everything's fine. Sorry. Autofit is a new thing. It's only been out for maybe a year, which isn't that new, but it's just new enough to where I've had it in less than 2 classes. So I don't know all of the benefits of it yet. But that's how you can go through and actually frame an image. And then, so Misty, I'm going to help you. So when you are clicked on it, can you pull on these side parts to kind of cover up that black part? Good. And then this side too, just kind of pull it in. Perfect. Okay. So that's just a quick intro on how to pull in any kind of a JPEG. Now let's go to our pages and add 2 more pages. And this time we're going to do it a little bit differently. No, we're not. Let's just go ahead and do another frame. And this time make it, let's see, what size do we want it to be? Let's make it a 5 by 7. So width 7, width 5, height 7. A 5 by 7 centered in the page. Do you guys remember how to make a copy of this on the left side? What's our key? Alt, good. Alt, drag it to the center. So we have 2 of these again. So you should be able to just hold the Alt key down and keep it pressed and then drag this one over, and it should make a duplicate copy over to the other side. There we go, good. Missy, is it letting you drag it over? I swear it does, and then it...
It took me X out of it. I don't know what I did.
Oh, it's a text frame, I think, but that's okay because we can still pull images into it. It'll still work. But, weird, we can't see. So they are there. I would say put in another one just in case because we do want to see the outline of it. And then what we're gonna do with these frames is we are going to pull in a PSD file, and then I'm going to show you how you can kind of edit the options of the PSD file. And this time we're going to push one extra button. So we're going to do Control D, and this one we want the Villa Savoy. And this was, it's on the, not the CAD Commons, the other folder. It's in there. And before you pull it in, make sure you click on Show Import Options for me. And then Misty, I'm going to try to help you find the source. So click on this PC up here. Yep, and let's go to CAD Commons, and then Arch, Workshop, Villa Savoy. Cool. And then, oh, before you opened it, did you do Show Import? Good. So once we have our Show Import options, what we can do here is control the layers. So if you are used to working in Photoshop, let's say you made an old project where you labeled all of the text, or you maybe have some graphics that you don't want. For this one, go ahead and turn off junk and SLCC and then hit OK. So hopefully just the image will pull in. But then on this one, go ahead and pull it in with all layers, as ridiculous as they are. Looks like everybody has both of those. And then if you accidentally pull it in like this, you can always right click, and you see where it says Object Layer Options? Maybe turn off the junk layer but keep SLCC on. So it's a nice way to kind of use both programs. The other thing that you can do while you're working, you can right click on it, and let's go up to Edit Original. Okay, and it should open the whole file with all this junk on it. And everybody just hit B for brush for me. I don't know how comfortable or not you are. But when you go to B for brush, go ahead and actually before you do that, make a new layer. So similar to what we just did with our pages. We'll just keep it called Layer 1. So it's going to be down here. It looks like a little piece of paper. Good. Misty, you're doing awesome for somebody who's never opened an Adobe program before. And then on here, draw whatever you want. I'm going to draw like a big heart. Kind of looks like a bum, but whatever. Again, B for brush should get you there. And then, Misty, look up here. What size is your brush? Do you see where mine says 20? In the upper left? 13? Okay, do this for me. So first, everybody make sure caps lock is off. Okay. As soon as caps lock is off, do you guys see that mine changes from a cursor to a circle? When caps lock is off, it gives you a preview of what your brush looks like. And then above your enter key, do you see that there's two brackets? The bracket on the right makes it bigger, the bracket on the left makes it smaller. Did that work? Do, 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 do. You guys got some stuff? Good.
Oh, and Control D. That's all right. Hit Control D. Now you'll be able to brush.
Cool. All right. And then as soon as you have a squiggle or whatever, go ahead and close out of it and then make sure to save it when it asks you if you want to save. And then when you go back into inDesign, it updates both of them for you. So just fair warning that did you see that even this one here that I said I only want these layers? Because the file updated, the file just wanted to show me everything. Not just the new stuff, but like, hey, look. So be warned about that so you're not printing and all of a sudden you're like, where did all of this other stuff come from? Okay, but the two talk to each other pretty well. All right, last import option. Let's add 2 more pages. So up until this point, we have created a frame and then brought in the image, right? For this one, we're not going to create a frame. Everybody just type in Control D and bring in the 4.1 interior elevations. And just so you know for future reference, for PDFs, unless you turn on Show Import Options, it will only bring in the first page. But by showing import options, you can scroll through all of the different pages. So let's bring in page 4. And then you can decide if you want a transparent background or if you want to use the white of your document. I would say that for PDFs, 90% of the time, you don't want a transparent background. Okay? But Control D, place. Yep. You got it. And then let's do page 4. And then go ahead and turn off transparent background for me. Good. And now let's click on OK. And what you can see, it's kind of attached to your cursor. So it's not tiny, but it wants to know where to put it. And as soon as you click, you will see that we have a giant sheet of paper. So this is the drawback to pulling images in before you have a frame. I just wanted to let you know how that could happen. So let's do this. Let's delete that one. Let's draw a frame that goes through our entire margin and let's pull it in again so that we can control it a little bit better. And then if you want to fit it again, just remember to go to Properties and then make sure your image is clicked and you should be able to do your frame fitting again. Okay. So that's a PDF in a nutshell. Now for tonight, I'm not going to go over how to do, nope, I will. Nope, I'm not going to go over how to do multi-page text. What I will do is share our intro from my digital graphics class, but we're just going to go over single text boxes. So like in Microsoft Word, if you start typing, it'll go, over many pages. In inDesign, you have to create different text frames and hit this little plus sign for it to kind of leak into. But for our class, since we're kind of just doing titles, you can use T, but I'm lazy. I just use F. It's the same command. And let's go back up to the Eames chair and make a text frame, or another frame right underneath it. And then what we're going to do after we make this box, type in T for text, click inside of it, and now it's a text frame.
Oh, could you?
Yeah, so have you made a frame yet? Yep, so just hit T for text and then click inside of it. You could also do T for text and then just draw it from the beginning and it knows it's a text box. But either way, usually when I start working, I quickly just put down several frames so I can see where images and text look together. And then you can always turn it into a text box later. Okay. Now in your properties menu, you will see everything that you're used to seeing in Microsoft Word. So character, down here, there are these 3 little dots for more options. Play with the more options in all of these if you want. But everything is built in here. And again, similar to Microsoft Word, you have to highlight your text first before you can make changes to it. So like if you want to change your font, even like the font color, which would be the fill, you have to highlight it first, and then it'll apply the changes. Okay. So that's InDesign in a nutshell. And again, where we're going with this is I would like you guys to put together a simple portfolio of the work that we've done in this class. So the rough draft of this won't be due until a week from tonight, and it's just the rough draft because you guys have your models that you're working on. And we'll keep working on the rough draft through the last few weeks of the semester. We're essentially done a month from now, so we might still have some stuff that we turn in that last week of finals, but I'm hoping to be done the week before the official final date, so we'll see how it goes. So bring that in, and again, I want to see as much progress on the projects that we've worked on so far. So I'm not giving you guys a page requirement or anything like that. The requirement that I'm giving you guys is I do want it to be a book layout, the side by side, okay? And I want your images to read well, and if they don't yet, you can always put a note, like in maybe a different font in a different box, and leave yourself a note that you're going to retake it, like retake a better picture of this. And it could even be like an image from your notebook that's not a great picture, but you know that that's what you want to use, so you're just putting in a placeholder image for that time.
Are we doing just this project or the previous?
All of them, yep. So, well, it's all felt like one big project at this point, but basically from the beginning of the semester until now, anything that you can put in. So that includes even some of the sketches that we did at the beginning of class. Like Natalia, you did great sketches for all of like the ordering systems, that book that you put together. Anything that we've done from the beginning of class can go in
So
here.
every project 2 pages only?
That part's up to you. So I'm not going to tell you how many pages, but I want to see how you guys frame it, and then I'll kind of get back to you on that. The last thing that I want to show you guys is how to essentially save your work and how I want to see it, okay? So to save your work, it's just, you know, a simple file save, and I'm just going to keep it in here. And then after you save it, the way that I want to see it, the format I want to see it in, is a PDF format. And there's 2 ways of saving PDFs in InDesign, and I'm going to show you both ways, but I do want you guys to know that the way that I want it is a spread layout, which shows me what it looks like side by side. In order to save it as a PDF, we actually have to export it. So let's all try together to export it as a PDF. So go ahead and just do Control E, or you can go up to File, Export. And down on the bottom of this menu, do you guys see where it says Save as Type? I think yours by default should say Adobe PDF Print, right? I had changed mine to JPEG because I was working with the JPEG earlier. But as long as it says PDF Print, go ahead and hit Save. And then again, by default, kind of in the middle-ish of your menu, do you see where it says Pages? Right now, is it set to Pages? Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's check one other thing, but I think you'll be okay. Under, I think it's under Output, sorry. Under Compression, the next menu down, there's two sources of where it says image quality. Do both of yours say maximum? Yeah? For some reason, I had a semester that was set to draft. So before it was minimum, it was draft. So we all had to change this. So as long as it's maximum, you're okay. And once it's set to maximum, unless you change it, it won't change. So you don't need to check this again, just the first time. But go ahead and click on Export. And it has already saved it for you because there's usually this button up here that shows you where it's working. We're going to do that one more time, but we're going to do spreads. So this time I'm saving it as Workshop Portfolio and I'm adding the word spreads to it. So I know the difference between the two. So again, another Control E, but add the word spreads to it. And then this time when you save, go ahead and export as spreads right here. So change it from Pages to Spreads. And then this time when I hit export, I'm going to show you guys up at the top of my screen how it's working. So right here, oh, it's already done. Did you see that really quick thing? If you have a big document, it'll process for a long time. Monday night, Derek, if you guys were here, Derek's was taking forever to process. So in my workshop folder, okay, that's not where I saved it. Let me go to my desktop. Here we go. So let's open up the first one that wasn't spreads. What this one is it is just a single page PDF. Okay, so it's not wrong. We were just talking about you, right? Right? Back me up. in a good way. We're talking about how rude your computer was and how long it took to process. This is just a single-sided PDF document. So if you're printing on a printer like what we have here in our lab, you could go up to File and then, where's the print button? Print. Don't actually print it tonight, but do you see where it says print on both sides of paper? You guys can do a double-sided print here in the lab. But if you're sending this digitally to someone, like somebody like me to review, I think it's better if you send it as a spread layout. Because then if I go to the layout, I can actually see how it's meant to look in its book format. Okay, so your rough drafts that you guys send to me, I would like it in a spread layout so I can take a look at it. And so this was just an intro to kind of get you guys going for your rough draft that's due a week from tonight. And then if you would like, you can also use inDesign to do your board as well. You don't have to, it's not a requirement to use it, but now you know how to do frames and text. There's different things that you can do, and under our announcements in this class, I'll also put up the lectures for digital graphics if you guys want to go through and see some of the different formatting options, but that's it. Is it? Yeah. Well, it's useless to me now. We're done for tonight.
Could you do frame one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two ways of creating frames. Let me come down here. Let me delete this one. So when you type in F for frame, just notice how the cursor changes. And then if you click and let go, you can tell it the size, so 5 by 5. And then now I'm going to hit V so I can move it. And then the other way of doing it is F for frame, and you can just freehand it.
Oh.
And then you can come up to properties and change it to the same 5 by 5.
I thought you mean like that.
Oh, like the right click properties or something? No. AutoCAD would do that, but InDesign wouldn't. That's the problem with knowing so many programs. You want some of them to do what the other ones do. So, okay, that is it for tonight.